pasármelo al 100%, la verdad. Y pasármelo con a lo mejor otro personaje. Otro personaje. Con la gata.
Alrighty. See if we can't get some work done today.
Please enter your access code. To enable audio control.
Carl here.
Hey Carl, are you in the meeting already?
I am.
How are you this morning?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
All good, just trying to get things going.
You know how that is.
Yeah? Getting closer and closer to getting the loan going.
Getting the what? Oh, for the house?
Yeah?
Yeah. Guess you'll have to let me know when it's time to come down and take a look at the site.
Would you be interested in coming down during construction?
Yeah, a couple times probably.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's only a 4-hour drive, so
Funny.
it's just a full day long site visit. That was tough to say. I don't know why that was so tough to say. Hey, I just sent you a email with the latest building manufacturer model.
Uh-huh.
If you, I don't know if you want to try to take a look at that before you load anything up. But it has everything updated except for the mainframe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's
But I know I know this meeting.
Yeah, I could have done it.
Yeah, sorry about that. I know this meeting's about the pipe supports, but I wanted to get that over to you just in case.
Right.
Well,
All right. I'm gonna put you on mute for a minute, and I'm gonna wait on for Alex to get in.
sure thing.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody on? We are on.
Good morning, Alex. This is Carl.
Morning, Carl. Morning, Tanner. Morning. How was your weekend? Not long enough.
I was about to say, it sounds like you've just barely gotten through your first cup of coffee.
Yeah. Yep. I'm struggling.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm still trying to get back from New Year's vacation, so.
Right?
By the way, Tanner, I have updated the model for the pipe support dimensions that you sent, and I have that in plan format up on my screen in case we need to reference anything.
Okay. We may do that. But Alex, so I've got the Excel spreadsheet open here, and okay, drawing up here, and but walk through some of these, and that'll give me an idea of what I need to shoot back to the designer and get them to answer questions for us. One thing I did do this morning was, I think Tanner, you and I last week we looked at a few of the ports, in particular some of the fabricated metal supports, and we were looking at heights and that sort of thing, and elevations, and the company that's supplying pipe shoes and basically all the steel support. They had asked us a few questions and they wanted a few things from us, and I got that data to them. I've now subsequently asked our field personnel who've been in contact with people. They have given us any of the pipe shoes or anything like that, and that I can't. We haven't received anything formally, so I'm hoping this week we'll get the shoes in. We can kind of finalize the pipe support, concrete heights and that sort of thing. I know you gave me the preliminary kind of height drawing. We added heights to this sketch or this plan view late last week. I sent that off to our concrete guy, but I did tell him to keep in mind that these heights are preliminary for the moment while we wait on support submittals, which I told him received. So our PM is aware that we don't have those. The guys in the field are aware that we don't have those. But once I have them, I'm going to shoot them to you, and hopefully we can get the rest of the steel in there, support-wise, so we can really give a good idea of, how tall all the concrete, stanchions are in there, and finalize some of that. The guy just wants to know how much rebar he needs. I think what I gave him will be okay for the time being, but I'm sure they want as much data as they can get, just like anybody.
Yeah, and some of the heights are the heights as specified are so either the pipe support is wrong or our pipe height is wrong, or there's just a confusion between the structural and the mechanical engineer. So we'll have to walk through some of it. So
yeah, that's what I figured we could do this morning. Before we get into it, Carl, did you get all the drawings I sent last week of the submitted for approval building?
Yes, and we've gotten everything except for the main frame done. So we're expecting to have that done today, and then it'll be all off to Tanner.
Sweet. How did it look so far? Was it better?
Much better. So obviously we still had some coordination comments, but I've never been happier to say that I was happy to have comments because that were actually good. If there's such a thing as good coordination comments. It wasn't things like, we don't know what this size is because it's not dimensioned correctly. It was more like, it was more things that are probably just graphical errors. Like you said, somebody came in and they worked really early or really late and just missed something, so.
Okay. Good to hear. Good to hear. All right, well, I guess we can start going through some of these board issues. I have the same drawing pulled up on my screen and Excel spreadsheet, so we can go through them.
Excellent.
okay. Well, give me some screen right here.
Yeah, do what you need to do with that thing.
Okay, so let's just go kind of start at one. So we have supports have potential conflict with adjacent well and drain piping. Support footing continues beyond building foundation. And also, as we look at these, I'd like to review them in the model as well.
Okay.
We're looking at this guy here. 1-1. I think drain piping, just wherever we set that drain piping will be fine. Drain piping. Yeah, so I think that's good.
Mostly, at first when I was first making up these notes and stuff, when I was going through this, and at first some of it didn't, you and I didn't really talk too much about the drawing. It was like, here it is, and I was looking at it, I was like, I wonder what the issues actually are. And I was looking at, we've got some issues with looked like some of the wells were a little close. And in this particular case, at first I didn't understand what the big blue boxes were, and then I actually used my brain for about 12 seconds and realized that those were the thickened concrete support that underneath the foundation. So it took. That's why there was 2 iterations of this. Forgive me for for not using my brain during the holidays. So
No, it's no problem. Yeah, I really just kind of threw it at you and expected you to just automatically know, so it's no problem. So yeah, so as far as
that's the major issue with support, I guess 1 and 2, or both of these are 1, I guess.
yeah, these are typical.
That they go the building foundation.
Right. So what I'm going to do is basically at the model here. I mean, when it comes to this support here, it's right underneath this T, and I think as long as we're just underneath the T, where we're not on a weld, we're good, right?
I would agree. I wouldn't expect us. We probably have to be centered on that T in order for the support tube to make sense, and for the welds to have at least a little bit of clearance. I still don't know how long those are, how tall they are. The shoes themselves, still kind of waiting on those.
Yeah. Yep.
But
yeah, all of that information is going to be is subsequent, obviously, to when we get the submittal data. Real quick, what about this whole tie rod? Is something
One
that you think that
So that's part of the building structure. Are we looking at the model with the new building or no?
No, not the update. Carl sent it about 30 seconds before the meeting started.
Yeah. Carl, did they include these?
This wouldn't be Carl anyway, I don't think. This is the original building manufacturer anyway. So I can't throw him under the bus on this. But yeah, this is the tie rod. Isn't it a tie rod? Is that what it's called, Carl?
Yeah, diagonal bracing. It's probably going to be a solid 3/4 inch rod, and it did not change in the latest, so it's still in that same bay.
That's what I was going to ask, if it had changed or they had done something about it.
Nope,
sounds like
it's still in the same location. I don't know how far up the column they can raise that diagonal bracing in order to try to miss that pipe. I don't know if it has to be tied down at the base of the column or not.
Okay.
But that is still an issue with the new model.
So, obviously our options are so one option from what sounds like Carl, if this can be raised up on the beam,
Right.
Without affecting structural fidelity, or relocating the pipe either elevation to go down, because we're offsetting here anyway. I don't know if we need to maintain this elevation going out of the building, or simply just pushing this over probably a good 12 inches, so it's not 18 or 24 inches. So those are kind of the three options that I'm thinking. So what do you think, Alex?
I think
You want to think about it and maybe follow up?
off the top of my head, what I'd like to do is get the new model in here, take a snapshot of this, send this over to Holloway and say, hey, in this area we're having this conflict directly with one of your turnbuckle, whatever they're called, your diagonal bracing,
Yep.
if you would, and see what they can come up with. If they can come up and go, oh yeah, we can move that, or just get rid of it, or I'd like them to build the building around the piping.
Yeah.
Yeah. First and foremost, this is a pump house. I'd like to mess with the piping layout, that type of thing, as little as possible. So if we can get the new building in there that shows, kind of everything as they have it, as they have specified it in the new set of drawings, we can get myself a screenshot, and I can get this over to Brandon. And, maybe we have a whole host of, when I talked to Brandon on Thursday or Friday, he seemed perfectly fine with jumping in to a meeting with us to go over some of these coordination issues, if there are issues like this. If we only have this one, where, between the piping and the building, I don't have a problem shooting an email, but what I don't want to do is stack up 15 emails in his inbox for, similar issues. We could do some sort of RFI type of, or kind of what we're doing here, where we just walk through these, see what he can and can't do. But if we don't have too many of these occurrences, I don't have a problem. If you guys want to shoot me a screenshot of, of what's going on here, and I'll get to Brandon and see what he can, see what he can do. Like I said, I'd rather us get him to manipulate this cross brace or do something with it to get it out of the way. Okay. Is there any way you can tell me, how if or
how far up?
yeah, how if he needs to move this cross brace, like how far up he needs to move it, or something to that effect.
I know this is California, but is there insulation on this piping that's coming in?
The piping, no.
Okay.
None of the piping will be insulated.
So you don't have to worry about clearance for that.
I'm seeing about, on the Z elevation, on the Z axis, about 8 inches as kind of a minimum. So to be safe, I'd say maybe 10 inches.
Okay.
And
I'm
Now
looking at-
that's me. Now that's not me just pulling this up, like redoing the angle. I'm just moving the whole thing up. So,
should have, yeah, you're right. It's probably going to be more like 10 inches or a foot. Because if you look at the top, that's still, the top of that bracing needs to still be within the column. So that's going to lower that angle a little bit.
Carl, is there any reason why you think you guys put this diagonal bracing wasn't in the original set of drawings, right?
In the original,
The contract drawing.
no, but the structural wouldn't have done any engineering for the building, so they wouldn't know where the building manufacturer would want to put that bracing. So it's the bracing's gonna have to go in one of the end bays. Okay, so it was either this bay or the bay where the control room is, and the bay where the control room is has those openings down there, so this was the clearer choice. I have a feeling they'll be able to raise those up, but I don't know what the limitation is of them being able to do that. So I will also say, Tanner, this model, the one that we're looking at, even though it's not updated to the latest drawings, you could probably get away with tell Amy hi. Sending.
I'm working, damn it.
You could probably get away with sending a snapshot of this. The only difference between this and the one they gave us was that the purlins are now outboard instead of inset to the main frame. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what I'll do, I'll make this really easy. Let me just do a section cut through here, and I'm gonna dimension where the pipe is, and let Brandon do whatever he needs. How's that?
And it sounds like, as far as the foundations are concerned, for these two, I'm looking at the piping, and I think in order to get this piece of pipe out of the way, it looks like we'd have to make some. We don't have a very long run between that T that the support sits under and the wall itself to make some sort of transition, at least a nice transition.
So if we just did,
but if we lowered this whole leg of the pipe, we're affecting quite a bit of the pipe at that point. The piping, we're affecting not only this leg, but also this other leg. I mean, I guess you could do that, what you're showing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a U further down. Well, I guess you could still. So further south, if you keep coming down that branch there, you've got another transition that you have to worry about. But it looks like you could push that in also.
Yeah, you could squeeze that in.
We shortened it up right here.
Go back to the area that we're looking at though. That I'm not too worried about. What I am worried about.
That's getting a little tight. All those valves and everything.
Yeah, I'm worried about access to all the valves and
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it would be that big of a deal to squeeze it in a little bit to get it to fit. But let's go first with the first option of let's talk to Brandon and see what options we have on the building side.
They may be able to do something to move that bracing to a different bay.
Okay.
So I think just letting them know, hey, just send them a picture, and I bet they'll find a good solution.
Yeah, I'm going to send a screenshot and a section with dimensions to show where it's at. So.
Okay. And Carl, well, you may not know the answer to this. I know you're still kind of modeling stuff. Do the main beams, columns in that building overhang? Are they going to overhang as much as we're seeing in this model?
They still overhang. Some of them are a little bit smaller, but they do still overhang. And there's even a note in the drawings that talking about them overhanging. So
Yeah, we're gonna have to look at that, I think, quite a bit to see where they're interfering and that sort of thing once you've got all that
Yep.
sorted out. Because I mean, Brandon said they could taper them, but then they had to do something with the upper roof columns that was going to interfere with the gantry system or something like that.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I didn't understand what the response was.
So
It sounded like option A or B. But
basically,
it sounded like
you have to have the same amount of cross area in the whole system to be as strong as they need it. So if you're looking at that picture that you're at right now, if you lessen the area at the bottom to fit on the column, so if you taper the bottom, make it smaller, then up there at the knee, where the rafter and the column meet, that's going to get beefier. And so what's going to happen is that rafter is probably going to drop down a little bit to get deeper from the roof down below. And that will affect how much room and how much clearance the gantry has on that side for the support beam that they
we
have.
don't have
in
the
there.
gantry in here, do we?
It doesn't look like it's in this model, but if you did you turn off the structure for the architectural? I think you did. You turned off the columns from the architectural, which has the support beams in there. So I don't know that I'd worry about it. Well, let's not get off of pipe supports this early. I was actually just looking at, I meant to go back and look at the elevations that they gave us for the bridge crane, and I don't think Structure ever gave us heights for those. So the height of that bridge crane is being set by the building manufacturer anyway.
Gotcha.
I'm looking to verify that, but I'll let you know if I find anything. Might be an architectural.
Well, maybe that's something we go back to AV&A and say, hey, what's the height of this bridge crane supposed to be?
Yeah, I'm looking to
And
see
they
if
say,
maybe I missed
you know.
something.
okay. Hey, so Tanner, on number one, can you tell me dimensionally how much those support foundations are kind of overhanging the building foundations? Makes sense what I'm asking?
you're talking about,
The foundations.
yeah, so you're talking about like this overhang
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, how I guess how extensive that overhang is, because I'm gonna generate an RFI for today. I'm probably gonna mark. I think there's these two, and there's 2 or 3 other supports that are overhanging. You know, the main foundation by some way, shape, or form, and I'd like to be able to tell them how much that is. Would
Get at 2 inches. Is that right, Carl? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the bigger concern here is if they need to, if that foundation is somehow being tied into the, so I would actually say it's 10 inches, because you want to go to the inside face of that foundation. You don't want that rebar. Yeah, you don't want the rebar for this foundation being mixed in with the building rebar. Those need to be 2 separate structures.
I gotcha. So 10, okay. So overhang, so anything past the inside edge is overhang.
Yes, and I say that it needs to be separate structures in my non-engineering professional opinion.
I'm going to concur with Carl's non-engineering professional opinion. They're going to want to keep, all the steel and all that stuff tied into the main foundation, and they're not going to want any overhang. DIY foundation with nothing going beyond the boundaries, and then they drop the building on it.
Alex, are you with the company that's going to be subcontracting all the people pouring this concrete and putting the rebar in?
Say that again?
Are you with the company that's going to be subcontracting the steel men and the concrete pourers?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I guarantee you, if you talk to your subcontractors, they're going to look at this and they're going to say, we don't want that separate. Do you know, are they going to pour the building foundation and all the other stuff on the interior of the building separate, or are they going to try to pour it all at once?
I think they're pouring it all at once.
Okay.
Now, it might be I think it's multiple pours.
Right, yeah.
But they're gonna, you know, the way they're gonna fab up all the I guess the boards and stuff to, you know, to get it all situated correctly. They're gonna identify where these stanchions are. That's why, you know, I got Tanner to send me heights last week, because has been on me about, hey, what are the heights for all this stuff? And blah, blah, blah.
Right. And what I wasn't sure about is, I know sometimes when they do these pre-engineered buildings, they'll do the foundation, like this, they'll do this perimeter wall and the strip footing all the way around the exterior with a column base, and then they'll leave the interior completely dirt. And then they'll come back and they'll pour the slab and everything else that they need later with the building already erected. So I wasn't sure if that was going to be another one of those processes, in which case you really...
That series has not been discussed with me. I don't think that's how they're doing it. I think they're going to go out there, they're going to lay down the whole concrete foundation for this building, and then they're going to build a building on top.
They're going to dig and cage everything, and then they're going to come back and pour it, basically?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They're going to form everything, get all the wood in place for the forms and everything, and then they're going to do it all in one, at one time in multiple pours, or however long it takes. They're going to tie in all the steel all at once. That's what's been communicated to me, is that they're going to do this all in one big exercise.
Yeah, and just to update you guys, I'm looking through the architectural and structural, and there's no mention on any elevations except for the hook height. So I don't know if but talk about the bridge crane. So there's nothing in the architectural or structural that is setting the height for those supports.
Okay.
What sheet are you on?
Yes.
Oh, what sheet were you on?
I'm on all the sheets. I'm on all the sheets. I mean, do you want me to tell you which sheet doesn't have a height for the crane, or which just the ones that I'm looking at?
Oh, well, the way you said something.
Height.
Yeah, there isn't one, so I don't know which sheet you want me to give you.
Oh, I thought you said there was one.
No. There's. Oh, I'm sorry. For the hook height, that's S409.
S or F?
S as in structural.
Oh, okay, cool.
Or SAM if you're in the military.
54.6. Oh wait, no, that's between.
It's supposed to be. It says 239 minimum, and I'm looking again in the architectural. There is one mention in the architectural that the hook height is 11 foot 9 inches above the foundation, the top of the foundation. I'm looking for that number right now in the architectural because I just saw it.
Above perimeter foundation wall. Okay,
There it is.
11.6.
Yep.
If we were to do.
Tanner, have you modeled the entry crane in here? I remember it kind of was, wasn't it?
We've got the crane rails, but
So just so you know, Tanner, that third purlin up is 11'6". There you go.
That's a kind of a low crane. Ooh, hang on.
Well, that's a good thing for us.
Well, that's the minimum height too. That's the minimum height, so it should be able to be raised up above that.
I mean, if we went with
Courtney, you're welcome to come
Yeah,
listen in on this
we're
meeting if you want to kind of see how
good.
formation
It's 11:60 now.
goes.
So, Carl, correct me if I'm wrong, but Holloway is worried about the actual gantry rail
So
with the
what?
roof rafter.
Right. What they're concerned about is if that rafter gets thicker, it's going to lower the supports. And they don't. I was looking here. They have some specifications in Holloway's documents on the cover sheets on the crane. Actually, on sheet E12 of the Holloway. Oh, that's not fair. Sorry. No, it is on the cover sheet. That's my bad. On the cover sheet of the Holloway E sheets, they have some information on a crane, but nothing indicating sizes or anything like that. So basically, what the Holloway is concerned about is if that rafter gets deeper, the supports get lower. And I think you're going to have to start getting some model numbers for the crane to figure out how that works with the hook height. Does that make sense?
I can do that. Put that on my list.
Basically, you're gonna want a number from the crane manufacturer on the minimum distance between the bottom of the hook and the supports that the crane sits on. Because there are no details on how that really sits in any of the documents.
Okay. Is it smart for us to model the kind of crane system in here, or? Yeah, no. Okay, then I need to find a cut sheet on this crane that we're gonna throw in here, don't I?
I think Tanner just wants to model something.
No, so there's two parts to it, Alex. There's modeling the crane itself, and then there's modeling like a operation zone.
Yep.
Okay. Those two things are actually very important. I mean, if we're going to the extent that we're going, to leave that out is pretty critical in my book. But now, at the same time, it is something that is overhead, and I understand that, you know, once you get up above the absolute highest, tallest piece of the piping system, yes, then you're clear, but still, you never know until you model it in. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I can. I'll get whatever.
Because think of this: when you model in the operational, like the path of travel and things like that, you might find, because if you reference the PDF, so here's the girders, right? And you may find a spot where something that the crane needs to pick up would be like dead center, say right here. And the crane would just be like 6 inches or a foot out of range to come down and say pick something up or something. I mean, I'm just throwing out something generally above it. You can really plan ahead to make sure that every piece of component is truly in place at the path of the crane itself, and nothing is missed.
Okay. Well, then let me start. I don't even know who's supplying that thing, or if we are even supplying it, or I'll have to do some digging on that. I don't know if you know, this could be one of those things. The government likes to do this a lot, where they just want us to put in the infrastructure, and then they have some maintenance supplier that supplies the crane.
Yep.
If that makes sense to you guys. Sometimes,
Yep.
you know, they just want us, like, so on a lot of the tank work we do, they just want us to put in, like, if we're repairing a tank, they want us to to go in there, repair the tank, and add a couple of nozzles. And they'll have their maintenance people come in and actually put the purchased equipment on top of these nozzles.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean.
Some stuff. My guess is we are supplying this crane, but off the top of my head, I have no idea who's been subcontracted to supply the crane, or what the crane is, or anything like that. So let me do some digging on that.
Okay, cool.
I'm in charge.
So we can move on from one. Are we good with one? And we kind of talked about cranes like that, which is kind of sidebar stuff still important.
Yeah. So for one, put in. I'm assuming you're going to send this back out via email. Can you put in the overhang of the support? I think you said it was 10 inches. Because, like I said, I'm going to craft an RFI up today that identifies all these supports that overhang the foundation, and we'll, but I'd like to have dimensions in there so I can say, call it out, give an attachment that says, hey, this is an issue, what do you guys want us to do?
Okay, got it.
Sweet.
Okay. So number two, move on to number two. So in the middle of the building here, conflict with drain piping. Alex, kind of like what you mentioned that you were just going off the plan view. This may be a false positive.
We get to two. Okay. So what is the issue with two?
So we were looking at your possible drain piping, but this is a double stack pipe, so we're at a false positive there. So there's no drain piping issue that I can see. There's just the little bypass here.
So is there it doesn't look to me like we'll have any weld clearance issues or anything like that either.
Right. Yeah, no. I think we're good. So I think we can mark off two.
Yeah.
Good.
And it looks like we have enough room laterally where we could move it if we wanted to. Can you go back to the 3D actually, real quick?
Yep.
Is that the right location? Oh, that's under. What's going on here? Okay, now I follow. Yeah, the initial plan view you sent is a little, I guess, deceiving because you can't see the bottom. Yeah, so I think we're fine on that regardless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look like well, we can move it to the, I guess, in that view to the left if we need to, in order to get away from that reducer if we want to.
Right. Okay. Three. So to be determined, and this is building. Let's just continue down the line.
We're looking at 3 now.
Yeah.
So what's the issue with 3? Are we close to a weld, or is this another area where there's a pipe underneath here that I can't see?
Let me look at this for a second. So small. Okay. Okay.
Is 3 the big tall one?
Yeah. Now, let me ask this question. $22-foot span. Is that too long of a span by chance?
I don't. What size is that pipe?
This is no, wait. It doesn't tell me. Does that tell you? I can.
And what's the span? You say it's 22 feet, 5 inches?
Yeah, 10 inch.
It's 10 inch, we're assuming?
10 inch pipe, yeah.
So, just for your guys, for your edification, Schedule 40, which I think all this piping is, Schedule 40, just plain Jane steel pipe. You're starting to worry if you're at 40, at a 40-foot span for 10-inch pipe.
Okay.
So you could,
We're good.
so I've got a little table right here that I'm looking at that I use. It's kind of an offhand table, but you know, one of those types of things. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm seeing go up to 40 feet if you wanted to. Now, the government would never let a span that big happen. But, you know, I think 20 feet you're fine. Is that what your concern was?
No, that was kind of sidebar, but no, I think we're good now that we kind of looked at it. I think.
So Tanner, the way I was reading that, if you look back to the left there, I think you'll see that it's close to a weld point. According to the drawing, the support
Are we
was.
worried about it?
I think-
it being close to that.
Yes.
To that 90.
I think that's what the concern was.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine because the little dolly will be underneath it right here. So yeah, I think we're good.
How much space do we have between that support and whatever's down at the bottom there?
One here.
Is there anything? Is there any reason why we couldn't move it to the right a little bit? Maybe a couple inches.
If we just go delta, we're looking at 6 inches.
Yeah, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't move it if we wanted to. Couldn't move it maybe an inch or two to the, I guess, to the right would give it a little bit more. I think we're fine with that one.
Let's leave as is.
Hey Tanner.
Yeah.
Look at the just real quick. I'm looking at the foundation situation there for the big square one.
Oh yeah. I see.
Let me just look at that real quick.
Oh yeah, does that interfere with this big tall?
Well, that number, the one that's number 4, is another one that I think is sticking outside of the foundation there.
Correct.
And
I guess 4 and
that's what I'm looking at real quick. I think that is a PS3 on the. That's pipe support L. And so that just has some that just has some hooks going into the slab. But it doesn't indicate how far out those hooks go. So if you look at S504, it's probably mentioned somewhere, but I don't see it. Plate size, ties, vertical reinforcements. Type support foundation type. So drawing L, type L. So you see the rebar hooks going out there. So I don't know. I don't know what that clearance is. And then if you go to the next sheet, S505, you'll see what the rebar looks like for that guy. And you'll see that if we do put that, we actually might, we might actually have a problem currently with the rebar. It's down underneath. It's type R. You scroll down some.
Oh, type R, here we go.
Yep. So we might have a rebar collision there between those two. I'm trying to visualize how that would look. So you see, if you imagine, if you go back to Navis, and you imagine the cage coming up from that foundation. Does go look at it from the south? Does that sit over? It does. Okay. You might want to put a note if you go back to your PDF or your plan view where we had markups, where Alex put his markups on it. You see where that sits inside of the foundation area. You see how that? Yeah, you see how that the tall support sits on inside the area of the foundation.
Yeah.
You might have a collision with some rebar right there.
My guess is they're going to rework this thing too.
Yeah, probably. And Alex, you can just let us know if it's a field work thing where they just work around it. I don't know. Again,
I would think that what they're going to do is they're just going to jam all that steel in there.
Yeah, probably.
They're not going to, if steel's kind of touching steel, I mean, it's all going to be encased in concrete. None of this crap's going to ever go anywhere.
Right. So I don't know what the limitations are for what they can move and what they cannot have exactly where it's shown in the structural document. So this is just me looking at this saying, if it's sitting on top of another foundation, that they might have to work around some rebar there. So
they might have a little bit of work around, and that maybe is just a note we put
but
in there.
When we were talking about moving it closer, I was thinking that might complicate things a little bit more. But again, it's probably something that somebody with experience in the field can do no problem.
Yeah, I don't think the concrete people are going to have any problem kind of working. I'm sure there's got to be a couple more conflicts like this too, where we've got a few issues like this throughout there might be one support sitting on another support's footing or something like that. I'm assuming this is probably not the only case of this. We just have highlighted this case because this foundation in particular, is overhanging the overall foundation.
I just took a quick glance around. I think this is the only place where one pipe support's sitting over the foundation of another pipe support.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my guess is what I can do is I can call that out to, what I'll first do is I'll first talk to ABNA and go, hey, your foundation's overhanging, and they'll go, oh, then chop this edge off a little bit,
right,
thicken it here, or do whatever. And then at that point, we'll send those drawings back to our concrete guy and go, hey, are you guys going to have any problems with, the rebar meshing up in these areas? We'll highlight the area, see if they're going to have some issues, and go from there.
Right.
Let me jump in real quick. I got about 15 minutes to go before I got to move on to another meeting, so I just want to consider the time there.
Jesus Christ, man. You're the one who booked this meeting, too.
I mean, there's so many things to consider. I get it, trust me.
Okay, so for four, call out give me the same dimensions. That number 4 is overhanging, whatever it is. I guess it's probably around the same amount,
Yeah, it's the same foundation. It's hanging the same amount there.
Yeah, it's going to be the exact same.
Call that out on the little sheet. Otherwise, I'll forget. Or it's about a foot or something.
Yeah, 10, so 10-inch overhang. Okay.
You got to be off of that 7, Tanner?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so 4, as far as location, is fine. That's not, so again, kind of a false positive on the second track.
Yeah, I think as far as conflict within the building, I don't see any. I think the issue is the foundation, which we've gone over.
Okay. So 5. That's door. So this is very close to the well. So number 5 is what we're looking at.
Can we move that to the left? You can have
Yeah,
the issue.
that is fine, correct?
I would think so. I don't see any reason why we can't move that over to the left a couple of inches to give it some breathing room. That's what I would do.
Okay. Good there. So this is one area. I don't think that this is but so this is one area where I think there was either some miscommunication between the original design team or our piping is wrong or height is wrong.
So which issue are we looking at? Are we looking at issue?
It's not noted. It's just something that I saw.
Where is that?
Carl, which sheet?
Where is that? In plan, where is that?
It is this one right here.
Okay.
Here, so hold on. Go back to the model
3.
before we jump to that one. Look at 7. That would be 7. Because what do we just do? 5, and now we're looking at 6. I guess both 6 and 7 apply.
Oh, yeah. 7 is a height issue. I may have tagged that wrong.
I think you tagged it wrong, or is it?
No.
We've got two
Yeah,
supports. We've got 2 supports that aren't supporting anything currently.
Right. It's both of them. I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have didn't notice here.
I'm looking real quick to see where I got the heights from those from.
Okay.
And right now it's looking like that might have been one that I did not have a pipe elevation for, so I did not have anything to set the height for, because in the structural documents it calls out the height as pipe centerline elevation to finished floor elevation. So I didn't have anything to actually set that elevation to. So I'm looking real quick to see.
This might be a simple, hey, now that the piping is
Absolutely.
X tall, we'll just adjust it up.
So this is 504. I'm looking to see. I don't have an RFI on that page, but
Yeah, because those things are just sitting out in space right now and not doing anything.
right.
Yeah. If it's an issue where we got to give you the height, then we can give you that height.
Yeah, and
We're gonna.
I think, Tanner, that there was a lot of that in this entire set where I just didn't have elevations, but I'm looking to see also. So I don't think there's anything that's gonna say. I'm looking through the plumbing real quick to see. Keep going. I'll let you know if I find something.
Okay.
Okay, so these 2 are kind of up in the air. Yeah, they're not doing anything. They're just sitting out in space.
Yeah, and then as far as number 6, which is how far? Okay, so that's fine. So since this is going to go all the way up, as we
6
find
would be
now,
all the way up and supporting this little, that blue area you just highlighted, right?
yeah. So the swing of this valve would come into question.
What way is that down? Oh yeah, that could be a pain in the ass. I'm trying to remember what way those valve handles.
Well, you can
pivot.
Yeah, you can adjust the but it's just common where if the handle is parallel with the pipe, then it's open.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I don't know what I don't know is whether that thing swings. I guess in that perspective, if it's going to swing into the support or if you're going to pull it towards yourself, like towards the door. Did you see anything on the submittal that says what way?
No.
these things go clockwise or counterclockwise. I guess I could ask.
Yeah, and I know you don't want to do it the other way because you've got the strainer.
Yeah, we're gonna have to leave the orientation of these two the same, but can't really do anything. If that support is meant to support that big tall piece, we probably can't do anything with the support location. We'll probably have to do something with the valve location, or we'll just have to have them, manipulate the handle. You can turn the valves too. All these valves, there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Yeah, so we could also do that though.
That might be the way to go.
As long as we can do that, then I'm comfortable with it.
There's nothing, ball valves and double bucket bleed, all the valves you work with, they don't have to be, straight up and down.
Okay, great. Then I think we're good then.
We're okay.
Yeah, okay. I think 6 is this way. Good, okay.
So you're gonna communicate this data back to Carl, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
So
You may
just
want to mark that for your other one. Call
Just-
it like 7A
yeah.
or something. I don't know.
just
Yeah,
so
it's difficult too, so good.
just so that you
Alright.
guys know, it doesn't look like there's anything in the mechanical. I see some heights, but I don't see anything that indicates really what the height of those specific pipes are. I'm guessing though, since you guys are kind of setting the heights of these based on the routing of the piping, that you can just give me the heights that you want it to be set at.
Yep. I concur.
Okay, now real quick on 8. The orientation of this, I think, needs to be rotated 90 degrees, correct?
Oh, is that what we were concerned with on this one?
Well, it was both kind of close to the weld, but then also now that I'm looking at it, the orientation I think is wrong. Now, Carl probably did it right per contract document, but
No, it actually looks like that one's rotated incorrectly. It should be rotated 90 degrees there. That's right up against the control. Yeah, that should be rotated 90 degrees.
so we'll do that, and it looks like we are clear, even though there's a door and stuff. Well,
I think we're okay.
what do we say anything? Not high at all. Okay, yeah, there's nothing else I'm getting. So I'm going to move that over just slightly.
And you're gonna rotate it 90 degrees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What is 9?
Alright, oh yeah, it's these metal,
So what's going on with these? I've got some direct input on these right now. We sent, you helped me with this last week, Tanner. We sent pipes for the filter separators and, that sort of thing directly to the guys who are building these supports. So, once I have data on those supports, I'll send that to you and we can make sure it jives. What I do know, and it doesn't look like you put it into this model yet, is we want to put 1-inch grout underneath all the filter separator legs.
right, yeah, we talked about it, I've got it noted, but I haven't pumped everything up yet.
Yep. We'll get an actual submittal on these metal supports from the company called Nova that's supplying the stuff to us. So they're gonna design them, per the drawings, fabricate them, and send us fab shop or shop drawings, and then we can put the actual steel into the model.
Okay.
Yeah. Any equipment or like the filtration, any of that stuff needs 1 inch of grout underneath the feet.
Okay. Alright, so moving on to 10. So this is where actually we're
The weld issue.
yeah, so we're putting right on a weld. So on
I can move it.
like
That's right.
Yeah, so we're good to move it. Okay.
I don't see any issues with moving that over to the right.
So let's look at 11, because now we're getting close to, now we're getting under footing, and we're getting close to,
Yeah, 11, it looks like we've got a foundation drain issue. Are we able to see that in the model, the actual
Oh,
flash
yes.
down there?
I specifically modeled it so you could see that.
Okay,
yeah. So by,
what am I looking at?
this look good? So yeah, you see,
So how does it look from like a section view?
It's about a 2-inch intrusion of the top of the foundation into the trench drain.
Okay, so I'm going to address this in an RFI to AV&A. Can you guys send me like a section view of that showing our issue? Kind of something like this, maybe something that maybe a tad more clear that says, hey, this is the issue.
yeah, I can create that.
Yeah, provide me with some sort of graphic, and I'm gonna, get these in the AV&A.
So this will be, I'm going to leave this as outstanding. So we'll have to come back and look at it. But as far as where the well goes, it's close, but I think we're good. If we can move it over maybe 2 inches or so, would be good. But I don't know how much room we have for this trench drain.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they come back with as a solution.
Okay, it's gonna remain outstanding.
I'm good with that.
The response.
Tanner, I just sent you a section cut from the Revit model in chat in the GoToMeeting.
Okay.
Now we're on 12. Oh yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Good.
It also, I put a square around where it intrudes into the drain, but I also forgot that the bigger issue is that the foundation actually interferes with the foundation of the trench drain itself, which you can see from that section cut. So, but again, that might be one of those things where those steelmen just go in there and they just lay all the rebar next to each other and on top of each other.
Yep.
For 12, we have room to move it to the left, and I do want to move it to the left a little bit. So
Let's do that. That's what I figured was wrong with 12. And then 13, I think, is your major overhang. I think it's got both a weld issue and it's got an overhang issue.
yes.
So just for my edification, when you guys are talking about, I'm picturing these things being built. So we've got these supports, which will obviously be in place before the pipes. And as they'll be putting these things together piece by piece, on top of the supports. So the issue is that when they weld these things into the supports, there's not going to be enough clearance between the support and the weld points. Is that what's going on?
Correct. So,
Okay.
So basically, you're trying to get away. They're going to have to do some non-destructive examination on the welds.
Yeah.
Once they're completed.
Yeah.
And you
Okay.
can't have welds crossing over each other
Yeah.
to perform that analysis, if you would. So, and it's typically in engineering, it's a good rule of thumb to leave spacing
Absolutely.
between welds. The government gets all bent out of shape about the heat affected zone,
Yep.
where you've heated up a certain area, multiple times, and it can, cause failure. I actually have done a bunch of research on that and have proven it false numerous times, but they like to there's certain guidance in their documentation, that sort of thing, that they want, some sort of clearance between the wells. Sometimes you can't help it, but in like tank construction and that sort of thing, you really need to, be aware of your well spacing.
Yeah.
API, the American Petroleum Institute, they have lots of background information on, keeping well spacing in line and that sort of thing.
So it's not so much that they can't put it together. It's more about the investigation afterwards to make sure that the welds are done correctly.
Correct, and they
Gotcha.
want to, it just looks bad.
No, yeah, I
You always
understand.
wanna be, the other thing it'll lead to is if you have a weld going over a weld and say you have a failure, it's hard to pinpoint,
Which
and you've
one
got a
it
failure
is.
in that area, it's hard to pinpoint and go, hey, this weld is leaking.
Yep.
You won't know. You know what I mean? You're not able to do a full examination of that weld and say, oh yeah, we've got a pinhole leak right at the weld to weld joint, if you would. You want to keep all your welds pretty clean. You can visually inspect them,
Okay.
and radiographically or
Right.
some form of NDE
That sounds good.
inspect them. So that's why we like to keep. Plus, it makes it a nightmare for the field guys to be welding over things and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you.
So
I'm basically out of time, but for 13, I think we're going to have to table this one because there's just more issue with conflict of the building and all that anyway. So can we just table that one and kind of
Well,
get it?
that whole pipeline right there, is that, by the way, is that considered would you consider that a manifold right there?
yes,
Okay. So that whole manifold right there has got column collisions going on with the building manufacturers. Columns.
are we gonna continue to have column collision issues with the new building model?
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see those once we've got the new building in there. Brandon made it sound like a lot of these issues were going to go away because they were using smaller columns, but
A lot of them did, to be
Some really
honest, but we still have some issues.
okay. So it sounds like my charges are I got to start putting together some RFIs for some of these. Tanner, can you just go ahead and for that Port 13, tell me how much it's hanging over? I know we've got more than one collision issue.
Well, yeah.
Because I'd like to wrap. I'd like to wrap the supports that are, overflowing the original foundation into one RFI, and I'll probably submit the drain trench RFI as something separate. So
I have to. He's going to have to get the new columns in there to get that, and we don't have the new main structure in the model yet. So we'll get that to him as soon as possible.
okay, that sounds good.
All right,
It sounds like it sounds like we're good. I'll let Tanner go. I know he's in a rush.
Yeah, and just let me get done and with what I got to do, and then I'm gonna send out all this stuff and all that. Yeah, we'll definitely keep in contact with all this. So we do have good stuff to get those the rest of it done. Number 13, I think, is the main one. So
Yeah, I think that's the most difficult one for sure. So I'll get going on my side for RFIs and that sort of thing. If you guys want to send me some screenshots and stuff, and I can get some dialogue going with Brandon with Holloway as well.
all right, sounds good. And Alex, also, anytime you want to set up a meeting to kind of do this with Brandon, regardless if Carl can be in or not, I'm always okay with that, and driving the model and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I just gotta put that time
of interest. Okay, cool. All right, gentlemen, I appreciate it.
Have a good
I'll
one.
talk to you guys later.
Talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Bye. I like the other playlist better. I think I'm going to go back to that. Quick break. Be right back. Alright. delineations. Mask is calling. All right, hold on just a minute for me. Hey Sean, sorry about that. I had to finish something up real quick. This is Carl. That was me. Sorry about that. Well, no, I just had to. Sometimes you got to finish stuff up, and you know, depending on who it is, you might not want to finish that up. Yeah, you know, like the BBB representative, you know, maybe you don't want to talk to them. Oh, they want us to accreditate with them, and I don't know, it just, you know, we get all kinds of stuff, you know, you just never know. Oh no, not a problem. I clicked the button that says it's okay for you to contact me. If it were a problem, I wouldn't have clicked that button. Oh yeah. Yeah, I got it installed okay, and I haven't had a chance to really look into it yet. But our firm, we were kind of playing with the idea of keeping a little bit of the money that we make instead of giving 15% of it to one company for software. So we're kind of looking at some of the questions that we need answered. We're kind of in a weird situation where we do a lot of residential, but we're starting to get into commercial. And we have people that have commercial experience with Revit. So a lot of the questions that we have are, how does the coordination effort flow cross-platform? You know, is it a big deal where people that we previously worked with structural and MEP are going to suffer working with us if we make a switch to ArchiCAD? You know, so I don't think we have too many issues with ArchiCAD as a tool. It's going to be more of the coordination flow and things like that. So I think we're just going to have to see how much we can cram into a 30-day trial and get a lot of those questions put down on paper and figure out what is going to work for us. Right. Yeah. Cool. Right. I think, and I appreciate you being upfront with me about that. And I'll just tell you, Sean, I think our firm philosophy is that whatever software we use is just a tool. So if there's shortcomings for one tool on something that we need to do, you know, if you're familiar with Revit, you know that there's a workaround for workarounds. So, I mean, it's, you know, and that's going to be the same for any software. So I think that the issue isn't, are we gonna trip over our feet not being able to do something the same way we did it when we draw with a piece of paper and a pen. The issue is really going to be, you know, I'm actually looking at a Revit model right now where I'm not really sure how that would work if everybody wasn't in Revit. Does that make sense? And one of the things that we want to make sure we don't shoot ourselves in the foot with is, okay, we're going to use ArchiCAD for residential and Revit for commercial, and then all of a sudden we have two specialties in the firm. We have people who are ArchiCAD experts and people who are Revit experts, and one can't work on the other project. Does that make sense? Because we kind of have a full flavor approach. You know, everybody should be able to kind of work on everything. To give everyone opportunities within the firm, we don't want to you know, lock people into somewhere they don't want to be. So we want to make sure that we don't pull the trigger on something that's going to end up causing someone to have to specialize in something, where it kind of locks them into something that they don't want to be in. So. Right. Oh, okay. Right, right. Right. Absolutely. Right. So let me ask you a couple questions then, if you've got a second. So the two questions that you might be able to help me with is, since we're on the topic of model coordination, with that import and export, do you retain features such as being able to copy monitor grids and spaces and things like that, or does the MEP and structural retain the ability to copy monitor things? And then how does that come back into, so let's say, well, we'll just end it at that question. Are you able to copy monitor things like that? Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yeah, okay. Well, that's something that we'll look into. So, right, right. So how would ArchiCAD work with Navis? What's the preferred method for getting format into Navisworks for coordination? IFC? Okay. Oh, right, right. It could be that just because I've been working with Autodesk stuff, I don't think IFC ever works. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. Okay. Right. Excellent. So the other question, if you've got a second, is my plan was to basically take a small house project or something, small commercial project that I've got, and try to model and document it into ArchiCAD. Aside from that, what are some suggestions that you have in terms of getting the most out of our 30-day trial? Right. 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 Excellent. Right. That'd be great. So we have, yeah, we have two offices. We have one in Tulsa, one in Marble Falls, and there's about, I think there's about 15 people in the office in Marble Falls. Not all of them are on. Not all of them are drafters or producers, production people, and then we have 3 here in the office. 2 of us are production people. So, you know, I guess you're looking at about 15, 18 people. So we're looking at, I think we hold about a dozen Revit licenses right now. So, and really, me and my business partner, we've just been discussing what our options have been, and he's thrown ArchiCAD out there a couple times. So I figured, beginning of the year, might as well just download it, see what all has changed since the last time I used it, and see kind of what we can do with it. Oh, it was it was about 15 years ago. It was back when someone said you have to have a USB key, and I was like, what? What is that? That's true. That's true. Yeah. You're not from Australia. What are you talking about? That's exactly right. And wait, we have to mail them to them? Oh yeah. Well, I think it's more portable too, right? You just take it with you and you install, and you don't have to worry about license transfer or anything like that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah. 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 I just remember that was such a, I mean, that was such a new idea. Like, I don't think I knew anyone else that was doing a USB key at that time. Oh, yeah, I mean, you talking about for subscription or? Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I remember that too. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep.
Little punk tries to throw me off a train. We get into a fight and he falls off. Cops ask me why I did a thing like that. I tell them why. For 3 hours, I tell them why. They don't believe me.
Right. Yeah. Well, if it's anything like what I remember from using it before, it was already pretty close to being fairly intuitive in terms of the way you build a building. And that's kind of one of the things that I'm really looking for, is to see if that just makes sense, the way that walls connect the floors and walls connect the roofs, and the process of getting things detailed. And, a lot of the stuff that we do relies on being able to do a full coordination and being able to get that nitty-gritty detail in there if we really need to. Being able to put that odd component in that's, it's always that one detail that gets overlooked because everyone threw the standard details in that causes the $25,000 change order. So, and that's what we still want to be able to supply to our customers, is being able to prevent things like that from happening by using a BIM collaboration workflow. So that's one of the things that I'll be looking at. Right, yeah. Right. Right. It has its drawbacks. Yep. Yep. No. The last time I used FormZ was for a summer college class, and I completed all of my work for the summer course in 2 weeks and never touched the software again. No, we don't even use SketchUp. We just do everything conceptual, schematic, do DD and CD inside of Revit at this point. So it's really helped. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that. I don't understand that mentality. Right. Yeah. It made them actually think about how things are going to be built, where they had to be architects instead of artists. I didn't say that out loud, did I? Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah. 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 Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, nice, but it's only nice because it's the way that the workflow is meant to go. So if the workflow is meant to work a different way in ArchiCAD, then I'm sure that that workflow probably is meant to be intuitive and work nice as well. So, but we'll look at all those things and see kind of how that plays out. Things like that I don't see being as big of an issue as things like being able to completely coordinate a project through the use of Navis, being able to use things like that, Navisworks, or bring another model in through IFC to visually coordinate those tough spots. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, even if you did it all within like ArchiCAD, so the way I see it is that 3D coordination is like a goalkeeper, right? They're not there to save everything that dribbles in. They're there to save the things that last defender can't save. So 95% of the coordination that we do inside of BIM workflow can be done with 2D details. It's that last 5% that buys the contractor their yacht that you want to avoid from happening. So if those are the things that we can still continue providing, then it's definitely got a good shot at sticking with us in terms of being able to use it as a tool. So I've been using a lot of Lumion, which just takes Collada files, and I don't know what ArchiCAD can export to, but I'm sure there's a Collada translator in there somewhere. Yeah, I recall seeing that. But we actually also have some very talented Photoshop renderers in our firm. So we have some people who just straight up exported a 3D file and then put some lighting and materials on there. And yeah, I don't know if you're looking at the Delineations Tulsa site or the main delineation site. Yeah, so there's a good mixture of media on there. There is, and it's the website's being developed. Since we're a new office, we don't have any finished projects, so it's hard. You know, we kind of use both as advertising right now. We say we've got our site, but you know, our site has our contact information on it, and then we also point people to the portfolio on the delineation site because you know we're all the same mindset, same design style, same quality product, but it's hard to show people pictures of renderings when they want an actual house. So oh, okay. Oh yeah, you guys going to the IBS? Okay. Yeah, and I actually need to check and see if my business partner, he usually goes to that show. I think it's usually in Las Vegas, right? Well, I think it used to be in Orlando, and then they moved it to Las Vegas, and I think this is the first year they're moving it back to Orlando, or something like that. And I can't remember if he said he was going or not this year. That's right, CES. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, my news feed's going to be exploding this week. Anyway, Sean, I appreciate you giving me a call and taking the time to kind of give me some options here. And we'll, I was hoping to have already gotten a lot done with it, but you know how the weeks following the holidays are. You just take time to get back into it, and that's kind of what I'm doing. So if I have any questions, I'll give you a call, or I'll reach out to the contact that you send out and the resources that you hand me. Sounds great. Right. Yeah. Sounds great. Thanks a lot, Sean. Have a good one. Bye. Alrighty. What's up, BM? Hey, John. How are you guys doing? Courtney, what are you doing for lunch today? Okay. Well, I don't want to mess up your lunch then. I don't know. I was just thinking there's just two of us in the office. We might as well just go grab something. I'm not really sure what I've got in mind. I'm going to try to finish something up real quick though. So if you were planning on eating lunch, sometime in the next 30 minutes, you can probably do that. But I'm probably going to be another 30-45 minutes before I'm ready to do anything. Not really sure. This is going to be 65.01. North 89, 04, 29 east. There's no indication what this line is right here. But since these are the same and these are the same, I'm going to use geometry to say that it's the same as this. L7 wiener 49.87 north 890429. My other project. I know not which one you talk of. So I'm not sure. Lots of projects going on. One where someone mismeasured the roof. Talking about the pump house, the pre-engineered metal building. Well, we got new drawings, so it is much better so far. Wow, this one is nice and simple. So I remodeled it, and we have pretty good pretty good set of drawings now, with just a few issues, not as many as we had. Let's see, 11 foot, okay, 25-foot building line. That ain't gonna fly. New sheet. And is not sure. X. It is a shared perimeter. All right. Shared parameters, PHP shared parameters, plot information. Not sure why. Huh. I'm not really sure. I think this utility easement, pretty sure we cannot build in it. Phone save. Why is it taking so long? This doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense. Where did my freaking... Transparent concrete. Wow. Driveway. I think we'll just call it drive. Covered patio. Okay. And then let's just make sure.
separate systems, the sounds are blended to achieve a new dimension of sound impossible to obtain in a monaural recording.
Lot 7, Block 44, Yorktown, 4, Wood, Narrow, Short, Narrow, GR, 1818. So basically, I'm writing a quick note to the client because this building doesn't quite fit inside the building lines. And I kind of just need to let them know that. Alright. Well, I think I'm going to take a quick break, go grab some lunch, and I'll be back. Hopefully in an hour or so. I gotta get some more site plans out. But, we'll see. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. And hopefully I'll see you again soon.